Hey guys, welcome back to Randy Starts a Side Hustle. I got a great treat for you guys. I got my very good friend on here, Bud Nemeth. We're going to talk about the six key components to consider when evaluating a business. Okay, I brought my very good friend Bud on here because Bud and I have worked on multiple businesses together. And these are Bud's six key components, and I wanted to get his input on here, get you guys some information on how to evaluate a new business when looking for something that you want to start to do for yourself. Bud, thank you for coming back on the show, man.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me back. I got to tell you, you've had some great podcasts. They just keep getting better. Your guests have been amazing. And I know that you've got built quite a following and quite a audience of sharp and ambitious people who want more out of life than just the basics. So when you asked me to come back on and we talked about what to discuss, this is information I know when you had me here last time, we talked about, that experience is the best teacher in the second half as long as it's someone else's experience.
Amen.
So the information we can share with your audience today, I wish we had 30 years ago. I wish I had 30 years ago when I got started. It would have saved me a lot of time and money and frustration. And so you mentioned it. The topic is the six vital and key components to consider when you're evaluating any business opportunity, business venture. And by the way, you might see me looking over here. I did jot down some notes. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. So if you see
I
me
do
looking,
that too. Yeah.
but anyways, I know your audience is not just looking for something to make a couple extra bucks. They're looking for something that they can make some extra money with and fit it into their current life, they're around their current life and around their current schedule. But also they're looking for something that maybe could eventually help them live that dream lifestyle, right?
Amen.
So when you're talking about that, we're not really talking about jobs. We're talking about business ventures, right?
Yes, yes.
Different business ventures. And so in this podcast, we'll talk about those six key things. And I can name them. I can list them off right now. The first one is either products or service that the business is offering. And just for examples, we'll use a product-based company
Okay.
for this. Number one. Number two is the company itself and the leadership. You definitely need to evaluate that. The third thing is trends in the marketplace that could impact the company, either positively or negatively. The fourth one is money, compensation.
Absolutely.
Is it going to be worth it, right? The fifth one, though, and this is, it's important, and it goes right along with money, is there support and is there a support system in place,
Okay.
right? And then the the last one is the most important. So hang with us till the end, and we'll reveal that a little bit later. But it's the most important of all of them for you when you're evaluating a business opportunity. So, and Randy, and you know this, we've both worked with companies in the past that didn't have all these things in place. And some of them, looking back now, knowing this now and looking back, some of them only had one or two or three of those in place. And
Right.
and they were short-lived. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have you and I or your listeners gotten involved with a company and just within a year or two or three they're out of business, right?
Yeah. That's not
I
good.
mean, starting a successful business is challenging, but keeping it running and keeping it successful is even more difficult. That's why most businesses fail within their first 5 years,
5 years. Yeah.
Over 65%. But
Yeah.
here, we want you to know ahead of time a business doesn't have to have every one of the six. It's very rare that happens. But, if you find a company and you evaluate it using these six, maybe if it has four or five, that's okay, and you can make some money. But if you find all six of these components with one business, don't let go, okay? Hang in
Amen.
there, plug in, get your butt to work, and don't let go, right?
Right.
So I'm excited that I've found one of those, and I know you have too. But anyway, so the first key component we'll talk about is when you look at a business is products. Their product or their products or their service or services. And like I said, I'm going to look at products, but there's 5 questions that you're going to want to ask. And if you think of any more, Randy, let me know. But there's 5 questions that I want answered when I'm looking at the products that a company offers. Number 1, is there a need for the product or for the products? Is there a need, right?
Right.
Number 2, do the products meet the need? Do they solve your problem? Right. Number 3, is there any competition? Or can you go get that same product somewhere else for the same price or less? Right.
Just
yeah. Number 4, are the products priced to sell? I mean, is anyone going to buy them? I mean, are they going to be sold in the marketplace? And then the 5th one is, are they priced for profit? Because, again, if they're priced to sell and they meet all those other things, but you and I and your listeners, we can't make money, then why do we want to? Yeah. Why do we want to partner with that? So I don't know if you have any.
So they gotta be affordable, and they gotta have a little profit in there for the person that's offering the service.
And you really want them to be unique. You want to make sure that there's a differentiator, a USP, a unique selling point of that product or those products. That make them different than all the Me Too companies. My shake can beat up your shake. My juice can beat up your juice, right? You want to find something different if you can. That's huge.
Sure.
So that's the first thing you want to consider. The first key component is look at the product or products or service or services. The second key element when you're evaluating a business really is the company. And frankly, that might be the most important thing of all, the company itself, because how many good ideas have we seen destroyed by bad leadership?
Of course. We've seen it happen. We've gone down that road together. We have actually spent years together building something. And I spoke about it on my last podcast, how when we were with that company where we worked in Texas with for such a long time, and then because of bad leadership, it went out the window. Where all the work that we did, we were pretty much financially independent, living a really nice lives, and from one day to the next, we had to start over doing something else.
Yeah, well, and again, you got to stay on the cutting edge. Like I say, it's okay they grew to be $1 billion company, but they didn't maintain it because they didn't stay on the cutting edge. So you want to make sure you're looking at that. But it goes back to leadership. And when you have good leadership, even, challenges can be overcome. If you need to raise money, if you need to build good teams or pivot when necessary based on market conditions or, COVID or, whatever. Yeah. But if you have bad leadership, it doesn't matter how good your products are or your services or how much they pay you. They're going to find a way to screw it up, right?
Of course.
And you and I, like I said, we both worked with companies that have gone out of business. So one of the things I've learned over decades, and I'll share this with your listeners, is I look for a company that's publicly traded. Amen. Because there's 100% transparency. There's a lot of great companies that say this and say that, and it's shiny and bright and new, but they're privately held, and you can't verify any of that. And somebody can make one decision, if it's one owner, privately held, can make one decision that could ruin it for everybody.
Yes.
Or when you have a company that's publicly traded, it's excruciatingly painful to qualify to be publicly traded. I mean, it's a year-long audit, and they look in every orifice to make sure. So there's a lot of companies that would never qualify to be publicly traded. But once they are publicly traded, you can look into any aspect of that company at any time and get the answers. I mean, they have to provide that information. So
it's all public information, yes.
Yeah, so that's the like I said, the first one is the products or services. The second one is the company itself and the leadership. The third one is trends. Trends going on in the marketplace or maybe upcoming, because a lot of people can foresee trends that might impact the company, negative or positive. I'll give you 2 trends. One trend everybody knows because that's why they're here. The one trend is inflation, and everything's expensive, and people need extra money. I just read an article the other day, Randy. It said that it was a CBS report that the average household today spends $11,000 more a year. That's almost $1,000 a month extra to get the same exact things that they could buy 3 years ago.
Isn't that sad? That's terrible.
It's terrible.
Instead of getting better, it's getting worse.
But here's a great thing. That creates a huge opportunity for companies that are in the side hustle business because everybody needs extra income. And the salaries aren't keeping up with the inflation and stuff, so you need to find something else to do, right? And if you're going to find something else to do, why not find something that you're passionate about, that makes a lot of sense, that's, got, great products or services, great leadership, and it's going to be in line with the trends. So another article I read on that same topic was that 93% of all working adults now have more than one income.
We have to. You have to.
Yeah, it's not like income. Yeah, I love that your last podcast where you just talked everything from start to finish about your father and your growing up in business. I mean, it was amazing, but it's not like
my dad was the only one that worked and my mother was home.
Mine too. And we had a house and we had vacations and we had, most people had boats or campers or this or that, play toys and the, one parent stayed home and raised the family. It was
all the kids. Everybody had either a father or a mother at home. The other person was working, and one of the parents was home with us, raising us. We're, nowadays, our children are being raised by others. You know what I mean?
By TikTok.
Yeah.
Used to be the TV when we were little, but now it's TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. YouTube. Yeah. So another trend I'm going to mention, and again, this is it's very specific, but I want to bring it to bear just because of what's going on now and what's going to be going on for the next few years. Yeah. So one of those companies that I'm talking about that has all six is in the health and wellness industry. Okay. And the reason I bring that up is that there's a trend going on. It's been going on for years, and it's going to continue to go on. But right now, there's more people that are going to turn 65 years old every year than at any time in history. From 2024 to 2027, there's over 11,000 people a day, over 4 million people a year that are going to turn 65 years old.
The baby
and you know what? The baby boomers, right? And guess what? They want to look young. They want to feel young. They want to be healthy. They want to do. I mean, they've put their work in. A lot of them got some money put away.
Those are the ones that did really well. Yes.
And they want health-related wellness.
What they're into.
Wellness-related
because we're doing
products.
it. You and me are already in it.
That's what I'm saying. So there's two key trends that are really huge and important. And there's other trends that could impact the company. Digital currency, finance, stuff like that. But gold, silver, whatever. There's a lot of other trends, but those are two big ones. But yeah, I was blown away. 4 million people a year turning 65. I was like, ooh-wee. So if you can find a company that's aligned with trends, and what was that, Paul Zane Pilsner's book too about creating millionaires, if you can identify a trend and get ahead of it, that's how the wealth is created, right? Yes. We're not ahead of it. We're right in the smack dab middle of it, but we're at the beginning of that massive growth for the next 24, 25, 26, 27, where you're going to see that incredible growth of people getting older. The fourth key element to talk about is show me the money. Amen. Right? Compensation. I have like 4 questions that I have to have answered when I'm evaluating a business and we're looking at the pay plan, right?
What's in it for me, right?
Yes. I mean, and everyone's going to ask that question. I mean, and if there's not a good answer, it's not a good fit. You might want to look for something else.
Correct.
But one is I look at, can everyone make money? Not just me. Can everyone make money?
Correct.
In other words, if I'm going to have the ability to build a team or to attract other like-minded, entrepreneurial-minded people that are looking or needing extra income, can they be successful too? Not just me. Okay, if they want to, can they be successful? The neat thing about the home-based business market, the side hustle market is that it doesn't matter. Usually you're assigned an ID number, and the computer pays out those ID numbers regardless of age, race, color, height, weight, education, hair, no hair. Well, it doesn't matter. They don't care who you are.
Yep.
It pays for effort.
Results.
You put the effort in, you get paid, right?
Right.
So that's great because it creates a level playing field for everybody. So I
Correct.
love that fact. And then the second question I ask is, can someone make part-time money with a part-time effort? And I say that because 80% of the people that get involved in a second business or a home-based business or something, they're
Right.
honestly only looking to make an extra $500 to $1,000 a month. I mean, that has been the norm. Now with inflation, they may be looking to make more, right?
Mm-hmm.
But can somebody make the income they need to make in an extra 5 to 10 hours a week, right? To cover their expenses, maybe put a little away, maybe do whatever. So that's the second question. The third question is, can somebody make a full-time income if they put in a full-time effort?
Effort. Correct.
And
that's the
if
goal. That's the goal.
Yeah, and with a home-based business, and again, you may start out part-time, like my venture into this industry. I was in the restaurant business. I learned about entrepreneurship and how to, leverage my time, create my own schedule, work, build, and I was able to fit that in. And within 6 months, so I worked at part-time, like 10 to 15 hours a week until it got to a point where that part-time effort was that income was exceeding my full-time income. So I had options, and I walked away from the restaurant business, right? Mm-hmm. So if I'm going to be able to get to a point where I can put in 20, 25, 30 hours a week, can I make a full-time income with that? Because, again, if I can make the same or more in less hours than I can in what I was doing, then now I have more time to do the things I want to do. And you would, too, spend it with family, go on trips, support your favorite causes and charities. I mean, there's a million things you could do. And then my last question related to income is, and this may be a little personal, is can someone use this vehicle to live their dream? Can it be the vehicle to help you live your dream lifestyle? Right? So if I'm going to put in a full-time effort with something, it's more than that. I want to know if I can build something like a passive income, right? That's going to, passive meaning residual, getting paid over and over and over and over again for work you do one time. Like, a movie star or, a recording artist, they make a movie once or make a record or a song once, right?
Residual income.
And they get paid over and over. And honestly, I can't sing, I can't act. This was my only shot at making that type of income. Sure. But I want to know, can I get to a point, because ultimately all of our goals are to not work, right? Sure. We want money coming in and be able to live the lifestyle that we want to live. So I make sure if I'm going to get, hook my wagon to a company, that I have that opportunity when it comes to finances. So the fifth key element is support. Not just support.
Super important.
But not just support from the company, right? And the company should have good support. It should be a real company. They should have employees, to hopefully a building, and they should handle most of this stuff for you: the inventory, the billing, the shipping, the back end of it, where they supply you with all your accounting and your payroll and all. But the other part of that, Randy, is support from the leaders in the company.
Yeah,
meaning the
people that brought you into the business and the people that brought them into the business.
And I don't even care if they're related in lineage.
Right.
People that have been with that company, that have had massive success.
That are sharing.
And they've created a system.
Yeah.
And they share that system. I'm talking step by step, word for word. What did I do to achieve this goal? And if I can follow that, if
Correct.
I can do what they did, then there's no reason I can't have success as well, right?
Yeah, it's the first thing you mentioned on the podcast. Let's learn from someone else's mistakes. Let's go down their path, do what they did to succeed, and not make the same mistakes they made. And they're going to share the mistakes so that you don't make them. That's what Bud's talking about here.
Yeah, not bumping your head into that wall, right? That
Yeah,
somebody else already ran into before you.
yeah.
All right, so that the first five, and I'll recap those, and that's again the five or six key vital elements, components that you're looking at when you evaluate a business. Number one is products or services. Number two is the company and the leadership within the company. Three is trends in the marketplace that could have an impact on the company.
Right.
Four is the money, the compensation plan, and
That's it
five
for
is
me.
the five is the presence of a support system, duplicatable that anybody can follow, right? But like I said, I
That's
was
very
saving the
important, bud. Like people need to. That's very important, guys. Something that's duplicatable. Something that you don't have to get in here and try and figure out how to do this. Somebody's already done it. The results are proven. Every time Bud talks to me about a business now, he knows. He already has the list ready. Let me show you. Let me show you how long it takes. Let me show you how long this is the average amount that it takes for anybody that's had success in the company. They've taken it to this level. It's taken them this much time. This is how much they make. If you put in this much effort, if you want to make this much, this is what you're going to do. This is how long it's going to take. These are the steps you got to take. It's a proven system, a track record, a proven success system.
Yep. You said it. All those, and like I said at the beginning, you don't need all six of these things because I'm going to reveal the sixth one to you right now, the most important one. You don't need all six. If you're working with a company that has four or five of those, you can make some money, right? If you're
Yeah, yeah.
working with one that has three or less, you may want to look somewhere else, okay?
Sure,
But
sure.
but you mentioned, and I'll go back to the reason I prefer publicly traded companies is because, and most companies should do this anyways, even if they're privately held, they should put out an income disclosure statement, an annual income disclosure statement. So you can see how many people are in the company, how many people are making X amount of money, how long it takes to get to those different titles or ranks. And so you can see in a publicly traded company, they have to tell the truth or they'll be
Yeah.
shut down, right? And so it's pretty cool. All right, so here's the last one. And again, I know you might have a lot of real estate agents watching this, and I know your sister's a real estate agent. And, in real estate, it's location, location, location,
Okay.
right? But in looking at a business, it's timing, timing, timing.
Yep.
That is the number one, in my opinion, most important element that any company could have on its side, any business could have, and that's timing, right? And I'll explain a little bit about what I mean by that. Because again, if we're talking about a company that's selling vinyl records or fax machines, you got, you kind of missed that boat, right? There
Yeah.
was going to be a very limited market, okay? But let's just take some companies in the home-based business industry. So if I was talking about companies that maybe met the first 4 or 5 criteria, I'm talking companies like, let's say the big one, Amway, or Herbalife, or Mary Kay, or Avon, or whatever. Then you can probably make some money because those are all multi-billion-dollar companies, billion-dollar plus companies. Those companies combined have created thousands and thousands and thousands of millionaires, right?
Yeah.
So
The opportunity's there.
I'm not knocking any one of those companies,
They're all work. All those companies. You can get involved with any of those companies and have success with them.
but
You just
here's the
got to put it in. You
challenge.
got to put in the time. It might take you a long time. It's going to be a lot of work, but they are very.
So I'm going to disagree to a certain extent. I'm going to say,
Shoot.
yes, you can make some money, okay? But it doesn't meet all those compensation things I talked about, especially the fourth one about, huge money that you can live your dream lifestyle. Here's why. Because of timing. Those companies I talked about, okay? Yes, they made it past the growing pains. They made it
Right.
past that first stage where a lot of companies shut down within their first 5, 10 years, right? But they've also, so they made it past there, and then they shot up and they grew, and they became a
Plateau.
billion-dollar plus company. But now they're, on another plateau. They're doing, pretty much the same thing. But the people If I got into, let's say, Amway right now, virtually everyone I talk to about it has heard of it. Most of them have probably been customers. Some of them may still be customers. Most of them have been already in the business. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they may still be, right?
Yeah.
But it's the people that got in at the beginning of that growth phase, or even at the beginning of the company, since the company made it through that growing pains phase, and then were there and engaged when that company hit massive growth, critical mass.
Yeah.
And with most companies in the home-based business industry, that starts at 150,000 distributors, representatives, et cetera, per country for that growth. So if you can find a company that's made it past the first 5-10 years, they've made it past all the growing pains, and they're publicly traded, debt-free, and they're right at that beginning stage of massive growth. They've got less than 150,000, but they're on their way to that. And now you can plug in. That is unique because most of the wealthy people in those companies I mentioned, that's when they made all their money. And they created generational wealth, legacies. They don't ever have to work again. Their kids don't. Their grandkids don't because typically those businesses are willable and sellable.
Yes.
So if you can find, again, I'm not knocking any of those companies. They're great, but I wouldn't want to try to build a business in any of those now. Oh, yeah, I've heard about that. But if you can, but here's what you haven't heard about. Let me tell you about this company. And let me tell you why the timing is so key, because you're right here. Like I say, I found a company that I'm right there at that beginning of that massive growth phase with a publicly traded, debt-free company in the health and wellness space, all the trends, everything. So, again, so when I evaluated the company, I actually went out to corporate headquarters to meet the people and do the whole thing. And get those questions answered. And I was blown away. It was the first company I've ever been with that hit all those 6. And even that first company, we caught the last year of that growth from 0 to $1 billion. But then the next 7 years, it was all going downhill until they went out of business because they didn't stay up with cutting edge.
The trends.
They didn't stay up with the trends. I mean, they're talking about long distance. Who pays for a long distance phone call?
They don't even exist anymore.
Yeah, right. Yep. So anyways, those are the 6 key components.
Can you imagine it was the fastest growing company in American business history at one point?
Yeah.
It hit $1 billion before Microsoft, and because they didn't stay up with the trends, they don't even exist anymore.
Yep. And there are other companies that blew their record away because they were with the trends and they were on that cutting edge and stuff. Yeah. So again, I hope that helps your listeners to kind of save them some time, and now they know what to look for. And if like I say, if a company meets 4 or 5 of those, you got a good shot. If they meet all 6, hitch your wagon to it and hang on for the ride. But you got to do something. You got to work. You can't just, sign on the dotted line and all of a sudden your bank account starts filling up. You got to do some work. What's the work? Sharing information, being an influencer, right, to your own people without even have to have a social media account, right? You can still be an influencer because all of us have a circle, a sphere of influence that we can share things with. And we do. We all share good and bad every day in every conversation, And
when Bud says share, you mean you got to do 2 things. You got to share the product that your company offers or its service, or you got to share the business opportunity with others and offer the business to others so they can participate in the wealth.
And the best way to do that with both is telling a story. You can get paid to be a storyteller. It's pretty cool.
Yes, it is. It is.
So, like I say, Randy, I'm very impressed with your podcasts. They just amaze me. They keep getting better and better, and I know you keep growing and building your audience, and you got a lot of sharp people here. So, hopefully, we were able to help them in some way today.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time, Bud, and coming out here with us at such short notice. Thank you so much. I hope you guys got something out of that. You know that you can reach out to us, and I put you in touch with Mr. Nemeth. He can share his opportunity with you. We can share whatever we're doing with you. Just reach out to us individually. You can reach out to me here. You know how to reach out to me on all my platforms. They're all available. But if you want to share your email or however you want anybody to
Sure.
get in touch with you.
Yeah, Bud Nemeth at gmail.com. BUDNEMETH at gmail.com. And just a final point I meant to say, and the timing is just to show you that right place, right time matters. Imagine if you were a janitor or a secretary with Microsoft or Apple back in the 80s and you got some stock. That was part of their payment was stock.
Yeah.
Those people aren't janitors or secretaries anymore and haven't been. And
For a long time.
And their lives are set in their children's lives and grandchildren's lives. So timing is the most important factor in all those. So
Action.
and
Gotta
yeah,
take
well,
action.
there you go. You got me. Timing is great, but if you don't take action, it don't mean nothing, right?
That's right.
So
Thank you,
got
Bud,
it.
for coming out. God bless you, my brother. God bless all of you. I love all of you very much, and we'll look forward to seeing you on here soon, guys. Bye-bye. Have a great night. Thank you, Bud.
My pleasure. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.